I'm Cassidy Joy. I'm playing Courtney Brewster, and I am a singer and an actress from New York originally, Los Angeles, by way of Los Angeles. What brought me into this production is I found out about the film and was really interested in the fact that it was a faith-based film and that it was written by preachers. I have been wanting to do something like this, believe it or not. Maybe not, I don't know that I was so specific about I want to work on a film about preachers, but I've been wanting to sort of do work that's positive and that is sending a positive message and that is about positive things and about things that are more spiritual and maybe more in keeping with the things that I believe in. And I love stories like this. I think that they're really important and they're not told very often, so I auditioned for it and really just sort of crossed my fingers that I would get the part, and I got very lucky. So there's a scene with Courtney, my character. You know, it's a big turning point for the main character's storyline, and you know, it's interesting. It's my first time ever doing a scene like that at all, ever. And it was scary and it was nerve-wracking, but of course, you know, I call him Will, but his name is Aric. The lead was amazing about it. He was super nervous too. And it kind of was a relief because he was like, just, you know, I'm real nervous. I'm like, thank God, because I'm really nervous too. And we were both so nervous, but I'll tell you, it ended up being way more comfortable than I thought it would be because nobody made it weird. You know, everybody sort of respected my wishes in terms of close down the set and don't shoot me from certain angles just because I'm not comfortable with that more than anything. And they couldn't have been more respectful. And I said to my girlfriend that taking off my clothes, I mean, I didn't get completely naked obviously, but taking off my clothes in front of a camera was worth like about 10 years of therapy. I just feel like I freed myself in a way, like any inhibitions I may have had going in are gone. The imperfections of our bodies and all of that stuff, like I just really had to let all of that go. And she's a woman and she's in love and she feels sexy, and you know, no matter how Cassidy might feel about her body, Courtney doesn't feel that way about her body. And so, you know, I had to kind of play it that way, and it was kind of liberating. I was so interested in telling a story from this perspective. I just think there's so many stories now that are sad or that are violent or that are kind of overtly sexual for, you know, being for sex's sake, or, you know, whatever those things are. I just think that sometimes you need a little bit of a positive message, and I think people need to be reminded that there are people who love and believe in God in this world, and that they're normal people, and that they're fallible, and that they have the same problems and predicaments as everybody else. And I just wanted to be a part of something that was being told from the perspective, you know, it's not a religious movie. I mean, that's not what it is, but I wanted to be a part of something that was trying to spread some faith, if it was at all possible, or at least tell the stories of people who have faith, you know, and that they're like everybody else. I grew up in the church. I grew up singing in church. I grew up going to church. I went to Catholic school, but I was actually in a Christian church as a little girl, a Nazarene church. And so in that way, it speaks to me completely. You know, it reminds me of my childhood and all of the, you know, all of the kind of etiquette that takes place in church, and who you are when you're in church, and then who you are when you're out of church. But I think also, you know, Courtney, I think I identified with her too, because there's a little bit of hero worship going on, I think, with Will, and she's blinded, you know, by her infatuation, you know, with him, and she doesn't really think about the consequences of her actions. And I think that I myself, not necessarily in the exact situation, but in similar situations, have done things that, had I been more mature, had I been more worldly, more wise, I wouldn't have done, you know? She's not a bad girl, but she's making mistakes, and she's following her heart as opposed to her head, you know, and I can certainly identify with that. It's not malicious, but she's being selfish, certainly, and it's not right what she's doing, and it definitely goes against her faith. But I think in her mind, you know, she's motivated by this love and this passion for this man, and she thinks that she can be a better first lady of the church and a better pastor's wife, and she can make him happier than maybe his present wife can, and she's justified it, you know, in her head in some way. So she's like me because she is an idealist. She is, she can have blinders on, I think, when it comes to the man that she loves. I'm certainly guilty of that. You know, you don't see flaws, or you believe that you can fix problems, you know, that love will find a way. You know, I believe in that, and I think that I'll always believe in that. I am unjaded when it comes to that, but it's probably not a realistic way to live your life. I would say that she's different than me in the sense that, you know, Cassidy wouldn't have an affair with a married man. She wouldn't have, you know, no matter what, like even as a younger woman. I don't judge it. I just wouldn't do it myself. But I would say that's how we're different, but I certainly have fallen in love with the wrong man, and I certainly have fallen in love with an unavailable man, even if it wasn't because he was married, if it was for other reasons. And I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for her, and a lot of love for her. You know, I get it. She wants the happy ending, and she just doesn't think about consequences, you know, because she obviously never had to face any in her life. And I think that's probably where we're different, right? Because Cassidy has had to face consequences, you know. Yeah. I maybe a little more wisdom than our poor Courtney. I love that she is so confident, and that she's so sure that he loves her the way that she loves him. That, you know, it's sad that she's going to get her heart broken, but there's something really beautiful about somebody who just believes in love to the way that she does, you know, and the way that she pursues this dream that she has of being his wife and them being together. You know, that kind of pie in the sky vision of the world is a very beautiful thing. You know, certainly people like that can get hurt, but I don't know, in some ways she's just entirely unjaded, and I love that about her. If I don't hate anything about her, I don't really hate Courtney. Yeah. Mainly because I don't hate anything or anyone. Yeah. But what I think I would say is, don't sleep with married men. Especially when you've never been married yourself, or if you've never been in a long-termer, it's hard for you to get your head around the consequences of that, and what you're actually doing to a home and to a family, and what the repercussions are for them, more than anything, you know. You know, when you know better, you do better. Mm-hmm. So certainly there are people who do that without understanding. But I think if I could give any advice, there's a home there. You know what I mean? And there's a family there, and maybe there are children there or whatever. But there's a life there that you're kind of tearing into, and I would advise against that more than anything. Let them deal with their business at home, and then if they want to be with you, then come on down. I think the movie's going to be fantastic. I got a chance to see the cast when we did some Zoom rehearsals, and they're really talented. I think that Aric Films is an incredibly talented and lovely woman. His partner Keith and the director Matt, just everybody has been, you know, the crew, just everybody's been so fantastic, and you want to see good things happen to good people, so I'm gonna really keep my fingers crossed for this movie. I think that the people involved are really beautiful and deserve, you know, all the success that they can get.